Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode, if I can get my tongue in the right position. Here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
Here we go, folks.
Yeah, exactly. So we're on episode number 371.
Mm-hmm.
And today's title is Add Revenue, Reduce Stress.
Now, it's ADD revenue, not ad. Right. I read it, not AD. We're not getting revenue from ads. We're adding.
We're adding it.
Adding.
In other words, plus, no minuses.
More. Okay.
More, yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me. All right. Here is the description, if I can not cough. I don't know what that is the last couple weeks, but it's there. Here we go. The description. Are you tired of the constant juggling act between making more money and maintaining your time and sanity? Do you find yourself caught in the relentless rat race of chasing revenue at the expense of your well-being or stress level? In this episode, we are going to explore what most think is too good to be true or too simple to get the major effects desired. But the truth is, these simple adjustments in your life could redefine both your relationship with money and stress. Plus, you will discover opportunities for revenue you often overlook and tap into them effortlessly very often. And in the same time, you will start myth-busting those things tapped in your mind so you can be free from them. But there is a catch. This isn't theory. By the end of this podcast episode, you'll have a concrete action plan that you can start implementing immediately. And I'm talking about real, tangible mind and physical exercises that promise to transform your roadblocks and barriers with ease. Don't let this opportunity slip through your fingers. Tune in now. Ta-da!
All right.
All right, Peter, so let's do our housekeeping stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness. First of all, thank you for being here. If you are watching us or listening to us, make sure you subscribe to us, whatever channel you are on, watching us or listening to us. Also, make sure you like us. Leave some sort of a review if you could. Good, bad, or indifferent. We like to see them. Also, in the description, you will find a link to something that is very pertinent. And today it is very pertinent. It's an unbelievable book. Based on the topic we're talking about in the podcast. If you have any questions, you can join our podcast every Thursday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. When we record this podcast, we live stream it on Thursday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we live stream it on Facebook, YouTube, and now LinkedIn. So you can go to one of those platforms, and if you have a question about the podcast, you can type it in there. If it's a question that's not about the podcast, you can go to our WhatsApp Messenger, Let's Talk Real Estate, and there's a bunch of about 100 people in there. There are real estate investors and mastermind type of an atmosphere. You ask all the questions you want there, or of course you can go to Flipping Houses for Rookies. Top right hand side, there's a button that says support, and you can send a question there to me personally or to Peter. I will pass it along to him. Make sure he can answer questions as well. Okay. So that's the spiel.
Good job.
All right. Thank you. Okay, Pete. Today, our theme is how to add revenue and reduce stress. Pretty simple, huh?
Well, that's the two ingredients you want. More of this, less of that.
Right. So I have both mindset materials plus how it works in the physical universe. So by the end of today, any listener can implement this simple concrete plan and discover how your relationship with money and stress can easily change quickly. And hopefully get some dough. So this is not necessarily a checklist. It's just a handful of points that I have used more recently than ever. And I have, because I'm concentrating on it, and I don't want to say concentrating on it, that's not the right word. Because I have attention on it and I've been testing it and trying it, I've had some incredible results recently.
Oh, good.
Okay, I've unstuck a few things, including buying houses.
Oh.
So it's pretty cool. Okay, so first, here's how I plan to do this. Like I said, first I'll state the obvious. Only way to make a shit ton of money in real estate. Then from there, I'll share some mental exercises I use to implement these core wealth building radical shifts. And I want you to understand those words, like these core. I don't expect this to be a popular podcast. I don't expect there's going to be a bunch of people that are going to come along and, just, like this is going to be the most watched podcast, because it's like, it's not a sexy topic or it's not like a sexy thing, but it's what you need to do to like make deals and keep yourself of your. I mean, Pamela, my wife, and I were talking the other day, and she was saying something, and I said, "Yeah, the statement you want to." She was talking about something that I do, and I said, "Well, it's I mind my own business." No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that. I'm like, no, you don't understand the words, Pamela. I mind my own business. It's not like I just keep quiet and let other people do their things. No, I mind it. I mind my own business. I think about my business. I think about my strategies. I think about what I'm thinking. I think. And I'm not a thinker brain. But when you do some of the exercises that I do today, which is what provoked this podcast, was this conversation with my wife in the car, and she didn't quite get it. She was off on some other kind of thought process, and yeah, there you go. So this is mostly a podcast for my coaching clients. Because once we're done with this, I will put it in my coaching portals and have them go check it out. So I feel like today is not, like I said, a sexy rookie thing, but I do feel like it is. If you listen to it, it will help. So does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, there's they talk about a bell-shaped curve, where on one end there's like a few people that do horribly. In the middle, everybody does average, and a few people on the other end of the bell do really, really good. In any system, the system can't make it work. You have to make it work. You can have the best system in the world, but you got to turn it on and talk to it and use it. So, you're always talking to the few people who actually do it and succeed. So, hello, those guys.
Yeah.
The rest of you guys,
yes.
Try. I keep trying.
So I have these conversations with my other partner, Sean, because he's all about automation, and automation is absolutely fantastic. It is absolutely unbelievable. But at the end of the day, there has to be the creator running it. The Wizard of Oz is a perfect example of that, right? There has to be somebody pushing the buttons, pulling the levers. Otherwise, it just doesn't work, So there you go.
Yeah.
Proof of that is how many times have you watched a movie or actually been in a house and nobody's lived in it for 20 years? You watch these movies, right? Like these haunted houses. The kids go in the movie, and there's like all the cloth and everything's all over it. Well, the house is just there. It doesn't change. Nothing changes. It's just there. Yeah. It needs a human being to come in and create something and think about it, whether it's to create destruction or create a better outcome. Yeah. Machines need humans to run them. So there's never going to be 100% automaticity. And there's never going to be, and there are people, like my coach is one of them, that, there's the especially AI right now is very autonomous. Like it keeps learning from itself.
Mm.
And yes, it could get smarter, and yes, it could get smarter, and yes, it could get smarter, but it will never be a human.
Mm-mm.
Right? All right, so I'm going to state the obvious first, and then from there I'm going to share some mental exercises I use to implement these core wealth building radical shifts to make things really happen. So here we go.
Mm-hmm.
First, major simplicity to know is you have to make offers or proposals in real estate to do deals. That's more or less obvious, right?
You would think.
But a lot don't do enough of this. Even you and I don't do enough of this at times.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, we're not doing enough
Mm-hmm.
of it, right? So I'm going to cover this in the next piece. It's going to go, aha. So the entire concept of what I'm going to talk about today, like the mental shift, is are you making enough offers? Right? Because the amount of money you have, aka the amount of real estate you have, is 1,000% related to how many offers have you made.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I've had a lot of coaching students. I have several right now, and one of them even just, he has a website that he built,
Mm-hmm.
and he just ad hoc throws offers at people.
Mm.
Sometimes he doesn't even talk to them. It's like I'll talk to my kids, or I'll talk to you or something, and I'll often say, well, I want to give you my unsolicited opinion.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you're not asking me for my opinion, but I'm going to give it to you anyways.
Right.
Right. But I tell you, I'm going to give you my unsolicited opinion. And that's what he does. He sends out unsolicited
offers. That's cute.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, so he just kind of sends them. But when he does that, now you're in the coaching group as well. And notice notice when he says, this week I'm going to blah, blah, blah. Next week, for 3 weeks, he's on the call with 4 or 5 deals a week.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he's not using, he has his own system. He uses some very basic software. He's an IT guy, so he understands it all. I'm not sure. I can see the software. I can't remember the name of it.
Oh.
It's a spreadsheet software, right?
Airtable?
And Airtable, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. Yeah, Airtable is what he uses, and he keeps track of his deals. And he uses text magic. So he was taught by me several years ago, probably COVID or before COVID,
Yeah.
how to use text magic, right,
Mm-hmm.
and Airtable to keep his deal, and he's still doing it. But yet he is the one that brings the most amount of deals
Mm-hmm.
to the group every week,
Mm-hmm.
because he just keeps it simple, right?
Yeah.
I think
I was watching it.
Go
Well,
ahead.
last week, when he went, I'm watching that. A few other things that I've looked at lately that you've been sending. I'm thinking, so I have to talk to you later. Like, I got to do something like that. Something more like that. So I'm personally usually pretty good, like dog with a bone, to hang on to something. But there's a little more extended view of how you can just permeate more or send more offers unsolicited, like you're saying. So that's, we're going to talk about that later, because I need to do something more like that, because I can see what he's doing, and you can never argue that. And my other businesses, I've figured out how to do that. And our business changes. It keeps progressing, and I'm always like, okay, how do I use it now? Because it's now, I got an AI, and it just keeps progressing, and I have to keep up with it. And I'm not slow, but it's like it's something kind of fresh every once in a while. So it's something for us to talk about, because I see him doing this. Like, all right, I better do something like that. Why not do more?
Right.
So
Yes.
there's a conversation.
So you and I know you and I believe this because we've talked about it. Communication is the solvency of all problems.
Yeah.
Right. So you just need to communicate. So if you don't have money or you don't have deals, why is that?
Well, there's something you're
You're
not doing to having.
Yeah,
do.
So that's when we came up with the formula, probably many podcasts to go. Many podcasts. Hundreds of podcasts to go.
Thousands.
Yeah, no, hundreds, because
Okay.
we're on 371.
Okay.
But the formula has always been find and communicate to a motivated seller.
Yep.
Step 2 is tell them what you do. Now, this is a little bit funny because find and communicate to a motivated seller. Okay, so we always came up with this weirdness on motivated sellers. I'm telling you right now, the best seller you could talk to right now, currently, as of this podcast, is expired listings. They're motivated. Right? So find and speak to motivated sellers. In this particular case is expired listings. The next on the list is for sale by owners. And I used to poo-poo them. Remember, years ago, I used to make fun of them, right? I used to use them for practice calls. Well, the point is that they have a house for sale and they are looking to sell it. And especially if you listen to, I think, episode number 260, and I think...
You mean, wait, the 360?
I'm sorry, 360.
Yeah.
I always do that. Thank you, Peter. 360 and episode number 370, we talk about the Grand Slam offer. And how you could take those people that don't want to pay fees and you could pay them extra money and you could dazzle them with some you could pay up to 60 and 70% more for the property than anyone else and make a ton of money.
Yeah, well, what's crazy about the Grand Slam offer is they're not motivated. They just want money. Right. And, if that's what they want, here's how they can get it. If that's their motivation, which isn't really like I'm in trouble, help me. It's just more greed, you could call it. They don't have this huge need to sell. But with the Grand Slam offer, how about if we can make you this much money? Like, what? They get their attention.
Yeah, we always had good ways to talk to people that had need, and we never had great ways to talk to people that had greed.
Yeah.
Now we have a balance of both, right?
Yeah.
So my point is that the first one is find and communicate to a motivated seller is step number 1. So if we talk to expired and FSBOs, that would be good, right? The second question is tell them what you do. Well, I have always said that what we tell them is that we buy houses. Then I refined it to, well, wait a minute, we don't do that. We don't even buy some houses.
Yeah.
So what I started saying is, okay, well, what I do is I specialize in helping people that normally couldn't buy a house buy a house. Right? About 80% of the population that is looking for a house don't qualify for a mortgage, so we specialize in rent to own. So that's what we do. So we either need to have a payment plan in place, or we need to have a significant discount so we can go get private lenders and get payment programs with them.
It's interesting the way you're saying it now. It's been developing. You didn't even say anything about how we buy the houses from the sellers. We're talking about how we sell the houses to buyers, and you back into how we need to sell them.
Right.
That's very clever. And you know what? It's funny about that. A lot of people appreciate the fact that we help people buy houses that can't.
Right.
They go like, well, that's really nice of you guys. Like, yeah, I mean, it works for everybody. We're not trying to, like, steal cars here, folks,
And the interesting thing is because of pure math, I have figured out with another friend of mine that the Grand Slam offer is the amount of money they'll make if they don't sell the house now. If they actually allow us, we used to do 2-year leases. Now we do 3 to 5 year leases because when the seller sees how much money they could make by holding the house and collecting money, the sandwich lease option transfer, which is essentially a wholesale lease option deal, becomes incredible to a point where I haven't done one in years because I don't want to do them, and now I'm looking to do them just because.
Yeah.
Right. So that's step number 2. So step number 1 is find and communicate to a motivated seller. Step number 2 is tell them what you do. Step number 3 is find out what's needed and wanted. From the seller, like why are they selling this house?
Yeah.
And then step number 4 is you give it to them. which is one of my 7 core strategies, because no matter what they say in step number 3, even if it's I want all cash and I want $10,000 above the asking price, you could still make an offer. So the point is that I'm belaboring here, which I didn't even have on my script. The point that I'm belaboring here is that you need to make an offer. Your job when you're on the phone is to make an offer, right?
Yep.
And what is actually an offer? What does an offer actually mean?
Well, the last time you looked it up, it said something like a proposal.
Right.
A suggestion like, what if we did this? Would that be okay?
Right. So a proposal just means stating or putting forward something for consideration. So you're putting a concept or an idea to the seller, with the seller, that they can think about.
Yep.
Because they haven't had anybody talk like this to them before.
Yeah. Even some of people that you and I have tried to train will go like, I'll give you this. Like, you're not asking.
Right.
You just take it or leave it. You can't do that. Like, it's got to be like, would you accept this, or what if, you know?
Yeah, I had a little bit of a spat with my wife the other day, which hasn't happened in quite a while. And I think it was because of the holiday weekend and spending it with her family. And my mother-in-law was here. And whenever my mother-in-law's around, it's not even her real mom, it's her stepmom, but she's a very conservative Texas older woman that thinks she's made it in life and everybody should listen to her, which I understand. So one of the things I had said to my wife is, well, listen to yourself. You're speaking at me. You're not talking with me. You want to have a conversation, but you're speaking at me. You're telling me what to do and how to do it, and you're giving me advice that I don't need and I don't want.
Very unsolicited, huh?
Because what you're offering me, you have not experienced yourself, and you haven't listened to my experience on this topic, because I have other experience that we're not talking about. So we're not having a two-way conversation. You're talking at me. In early days, we used to say it's the difference between being interested and interesting. Right? So anyways, so making an offer is the most vital thing you can do. Making an offer is what will make you poor in real estate. You know, like you'll have lack of offer syndrome, or make you wealthy in real estate. So you just need to do the 4 pieces, which is communicate to a motivated seller, which we just talked about, tell them what you do, ask them what's needed and wanted, and then give it to them, right? And there is enough of my offer strategies that you could actually do that these days.
Hey, can you still hear me?
So we lost Peter. Hopefully it's him and not me. So I'm just going to keep going. Okay, so let's just wait and see what happens with Peter. There you go. You're back.
Yeah, you know, before it went out, I had some. Did you see the flickering?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, so I had that last year, but it hasn't happened. So I hope I'm okay now.
Okay, so hopefully we've gotten that point across, and making an offer is the most important thing. So you should really wake up each morning and say, who can I make an offer to? Now, we've done that podcast already. We've done that several times.
Yeah.
Okay. But a lot don't do enough of this, and even you and I don't do enough of this, Peter, right? So an obvious secret about this is your financial prosperity is a measurement of how much you benefit people, other people. So, you know, the amount of money you make or you take in or you add to your current income is directly positively related to the statistic called how many other people have I helped. For example, if you have a job and you go in and you're expected to make 49 widgets a day, right? If you make 80 widgets a day, if it's a union shop, the other employees are going to slow you down, or the owner is going to realize you can do double the work and they're going to want to know why, and you become more valuable to them, and she will either advance you or pay you more or get bonuses or something like that, right?
Sure.
And the used car business, when I was in the used car business, the average amount of cars sold low was 8, high was 12. So if, like my guy used to do 35, 38 cars a year.
Okay.
Right? And he got paid, the other guys got paid $60,000, $70,000 a year. He got paid 120.
Yeah.
Right? So it's how many other people can you help? That measurement is directly correlated to your income.
Sure.
So I'll read that again. Your financial prosperity is a measurement of how much you benefit people, right? The universe is set up this way and encourages us to take care of each other, which is a very hard concept to understand today now with all the political warfare going on, right? But think of it this way. You're going to have a group of one, that's you. Then you're going to have a group of 2 or 3 or 4 that's going to be you and your family.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have a group of 10, 20, 30 people. That's going to be like your job or your church or your bowling alley or whatever you're part of. You're going to be part of some extended family groups. Mm-hmm. And then there's mankind. And that group is huge.
Yep.
Right? So how much do you participate in each one of those groups? Are you just participating in your only self group and it's just me, me, me? Do you participate in number 1 and number 2, which is what most people do? They participate in their own group, me, 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 and their family. And they only are in the third group just to make money.
Yep.
Like they go to work just to make money,
Yep.
right? You could make a mental shift right there and just decide to help someone at no extra cost to you, and you will notice your income go up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So the amount of money you receive is a direct index or measurement of how much you have contributed overall in life. Right? Thus, lots of offers.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's an interesting point. I'm going to read this and then I'm going to explain what I mean here, okay?
Sure.
So I'm not too profound today, am I? Am I doing
no,
okay?
No, it's fine. It looks like it's practical. You know? I mean, the Beatles said it this way. The love you take is equal to the love you make.
Right.
Just shift money into that equation. I mean, it's not complicated, but we just get so wound up in ourselves. Gimme, gimme, gimme. You know?
Right.
You pull hard and it'll be empty at the other end.
So here is a major mental shift when it is made, I watch coaching clients do amazing things. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to read what I put here and then I'm going to explain it, okay?
Sure.
So lots of offers, and by now most have probably listened to enough of our podcast to know how we make those offers. Plus, how much our offers benefit sellers without even doing a deal with them. So the second part of that is what I want to emphasize on for a minute or two here. See, too many students want to make an offer to get something in return.
Yeah.
I'm making you an offer because I want to buy your house.
Yeah.
They're self-motivating. Their self-determinism is too strong.
Yeah.
And the seller feels it. They're not, it's kind of like going into a used car lot and the salesman, you're trying to buy a Subaru and he keeps bringing you over to the Cadillacs and the Fords because he's bringing you over to what he can get a bonus on. More than likely, one of those vehicles have been on the lot for too long and there's a bonus on it. Yeah. And if he sells it, he gets an extra bonus, right? He's thinking about him, not you. You don't like that.
No, that's what you said before. The interested, interesting. You didn't explain it much, but this is an example.
Right.
That guy's not interested in you, and you don't like it.
Right.
And you feel that. This guy doesn't care about me. We've all felt that. And it's horrible.
So the point that I'm trying to make here, or belabor here, and I'm trying to belabor it intentionally because it's very important. Mm-hmm. What rookies should do, if you're not making lots of offers, the formula is quantity, then quality, then viability. So in the beginning, you need to make a lot of offers. Then by virtue of making a lot of offers, you will get good and your quality will be better.
Yeah.
And that's when you'll become viable. So in the beginning, the viewpoint you should have is, I'm going to call this person and see how I can help them sell their house. Maybe I'll buy it, maybe I won't.
Yeah.
I could tell you right now, the Grand Slam offer and the scripts that we use is very educational for the seller. See, for a very long time we used, which we still use, the cost to sell worksheet. And Peter, how many houses have we been in and we sit down with somebody with that piece of paper, one piece of paper, and we just go through the cost to sell, which is 15%, right? Which is 5 or 6% for realtor or marketing, 3% for negotiating, 3% for repairs or the inspection, and 3% for closing costs. Mm-hmm. And we just go through and explain that to the seller and explain how it's going to affect them and actually do the math for them. What do they tell us?
Well, we have them do the math for themselves, really. We give them the pencil. Right. We have the form. We tell them what to do. But they put the numbers down themselves, so it's not us convincing them. So we help them do it. And they always look at us, and they're mad, not at us. They're like, why didn't somebody tell me this before? Right. You know, now I understand. So, yeah, they get it.
So
shocked.
So what I'm saying is the amount of money you receive is the amount of help you give others. So by virtue of just doing the cost to sell or doing the Grand Slam offer, which, by the way, if you go to episode 360 or episode 370, you'll be able to get all that information, right? You're helping the seller go through the process of what they should do because they don't know what to do very often. 99% of the time, they don't know what to do. They think they know what they want to do. And I'm going to cover this in a few minutes. This is going to come to a nice little, I'm going to impress you today, Peter. I really am. And I don't normally say that to you, but I'm going to impress you.
You're going to wrap the present. You're going to put a bow on it and a sticker.
I'm going to teach you a couple things today that I have not talked to you about, right?
Oh, good.
So the more you benefit people, the richer you get. Right? I used to operate off of, and I've changed this the last couple months. I used to operate off of the more people that pay you, the better off you are.
Well, that's true, but dig deeper, and what'd you come up with?
I came up with, why are they paying me?
Exactly.
How am I helping them?
Yeah.
Right? So this is
helping them.
I'm helping them. Huh? So this is an unbreakable law of reality. This is an unbreakable law of reality.
Can't argue that.
Right? So to get rich or do a lot of deals in creative real estate, help a lot of sellers figure out what they want and how to get it. Mm-hmm. Even our option deal, they want $300,000, and you can only pay $250,000. Well, figure out how they can get $300,000 with an option agreement by bringing the house to the market and showing them how to do it and get a fee. Mm-hmm. Well, not a fee, a profit.
Yeah.
Right. So sell it for $305,000 or $310,000. Mm-hmm. Or make an agreement with the seller that when they sell for $300,000, they'll give you $5,000. Hell, they're going to have to give the realtor 15%. Mm-hmm. That's $45,000. Mm-hmm. Right? Just practice. Yeah. Right? Just show them. And oh yeah, by the way, if the house is worth $250,000 and they want $300,000, mm-hmm. do an option agreement with them. Bring it to the market and let the market educate them.
Yeah. Don't argue. Don't argue with them. Be very agreeable.
But think of it this way. You're there helping them go through that process. So when they're like, yeah, I guess the house is really only worth $250,000, huh? You'll be the person that they will have help them sell it.
Yeah, and in 30 days, not 6 months, with a realtor.
Right.
Who just drops the price until maybe it sells.
Okay, this brings me to another unbreakable reality.
Mm-hmm.
Now listen to this. This is very, very important for our listeners. Because this is something that you're going to have to really work on in your own mind.
Okay.
Everybody will have to work on this. You don't need massive education, knowledge, or resources. You just need massive action, helping sellers, and you'll do deals and become rich. You don't need massive education. The Grand Slam deal we keep talking about, episode number 360 and number 370, is a wholesale lease option. If you have rented a place to live, an apartment or a house in the past, you have done 90% of the transaction. You just need to know how to turn it into money. You don't need massive education. You don't need massive knowledge. You don't need massive resources, aka capital buy houses. You just need massive action, helping sellers figure out what they want. And you will make offers.
Yeah.
Right? Because the seller will say, well, if I could just blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I'll do that. Right?
Yep.
I mean, I have two deals I'm going to talk to you about later. I have 2 deals right now that I'm working on. And here's what's happening. I'm not trying to convince the sellers. I just told them what I can do and can't do. One of them, by the way, is an ex-coaching client, so he knows exactly what I can do.
Yeah.
Another one, the lady keeps calling me because she knows a girl that I bought houses from, and the girl is raving about how great we are, and she wants to sell to me. She's calling me, asking me to do seller financing with her.
Crazy.
Okay? It's a different world. Because why? Because I help enough people that it just comes back. It's just karma.
Yeah.
So what you need is massive action, helping sellers figure out what they want to do with their property.
Yeah.
Right? And you will find the low-hanging fruit, the non-difficult deals. Right? By the way, the difference between creative real estate and regular real estate, they call it conventional real estate, which is a bunch of bullshit because, I'm not going to go on that tangent, right? The difference is that the realtor system is all about the property and replacing the money that's in the property already, aka getting a bank involved.
Yeah.
The guy with the gold makes all the rules. Creative real estate is all about using the money that's in the property already and leveraging it for the seller, for you, and for the buyer. So a lot of times we buy and sell just paper. Like, for example, and the SLOT deal, the sandwich lease option transfer, is wholesaling lease options. We're getting the property under an option agreement for $100, and we're selling the option agreement for $10,000 to the buyer, and the buyer's happy to have it. So we're not buying and selling the real estate. We're buying and selling what controls the real estate, and we're using the money that's in the property already. So if you think you need money for real estate, you think you need massive capital, it's because you don't know how to use the leveraging points that we teach over here in creative real estate. Right? Does that make sense?
Totally.
Okay, good. Next mental habit. Dr. Benjamin Hardy just came out with a book. He's the guy that wrote Who, Not How. He's the guy that wrote 10X, Not 2X. He is Dan Sullivan's writer, one of his writers. Dan Sullivan owns Strategic Coach. Okay? He just wrote a book called Be Your Future Self Now.
That's a good title. That's so good. Like,
Okay.
Someday I'm gonna. And he puts it right like now, today. That's really, really smart. Because another wise philosopher said, man thinks there's only becoming when there's only being.
Right.
Just, you're going to be it now. Like, whatever it is, be it now.
Right.
Start now.
So he says, in all instances, humans act as we do based on the future we see for ourselves. So most human beings act on the future. They're like, let me explain this. I'm going to finish reading this because it'll explain it.
Yeah,
Right?
go ahead.
Which could be a future we're trying to avoid or trying to create.
Okay.
We're acting on a future like, I don't want to do that again. Or I need to do this, or I need to do that. I need to stop eating sugar. I need to lose weight. I need to make more money. That's all future.
Yeah, but you know what? Won't say it's wrong, but it's all based on the past.
Right.
It's almost more stuck in the past and the future the way I see it, but it totally affects the future then. Go ahead.
So the word that I use for what you just said is called extrapolation. That means you take past data and you make a future decision. Mm-hmm. Right? So let's keep moving.
Or is it a reaction, not a decision?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Yeah, we're going to talk about that, right? So, which means we should actually act from our goal. This is actually from Hardy's book, okay? Which means we should actually act from our goal rather than toward our goal, which is what you were talking about before.
But you said tour?
Right. Toward.
Oh, toward. Okay.
Toward our goal.
Toward, yeah.
Okay. Our goal.
Yep.
And the quality of connection you have with your own future self-determines the quality of your life and behavior right now.
That is really, really true.
So if you can totally envision yourself in the future, the wiser decisions you make here and now. So let me give you an example. I'm going to give you one example I wrote down, and I need to move along here because we're kind of behind again, as usual. So let me give you an example. You talk to a seller and say something wrong and think you blow a deal. You look back after it's done and you say, I should have said blah. I should have done blah. Right? So you're in the future, which is here and now, looking back at the past, saying I should have.
Sure.
Okay? If you could have envisioned yourself in the past as that future person making that mistake, would you make the mistake?
Wow. Say that again. If you could.
So if you can envision, so what I'm saying is you're in present time now and you're looking back and said I made a mistake.
Yeah.
Can't change it. But if you were in the past and could look into the future and saw yourself in the future after you made the mistake and saying to yourself, I shouldn't have done that, would you make that mistake now? In the past?
Oh. If you could do all that, I suppose not. But doesn't stuff just creep up on you and then, oops, it happens so fast you don't know what's going on and it gets you?
But that's what my point is. If you can envision yourself in the future, like I am a professional real estate investor, and I could do 2 deals a month, or I could do 2 deals a year. I have the resources. I have total confidence in myself.
Okay.
That's the future you. It could be next week. It could be next month. It could be 10 years from now, right? You could envision that. What I'm saying is now that you had that mock-up in your head, that stability in your head of that you're it, like you were saying, you're being it. You're that thing, that person, that whatever, right?
Yeah.
You will now act according to how you think in the future, like you're looking back on your life. Like present time is really the past because you're in the future.
So I feel it this way. Like right now, don't think of yourself as, I'm a newbie, I don't know what I'm doing, I'll probably screw up, but let me try something anyways. Have a better attitude, like, no, I know what I'm doing, let me just do it. Just have a better attitude, you'd be in a better position. It might not be perfect, but that sure is better.
All right, so I want to keep moving with this. I want to make 2 more comments on this because this could be a whole podcast in itself. So like right now I'm looking to do some personal enhancement and I need 20 grand.
Yeah.
I need it by December 31st. I put myself there, and I'm going to cover this in a minute, what the difference is with this, because this is what happens, right? Let me think of the word that I want. See, what happens is when you make these decisions to be in the future, you don't have confidence that it's going to happen. And you need evidence that it might. See, the trick is to make these decisions without the evidence and the confidence and just know. So like me, I need 20 grand. I just put it there. I have confidence in myself. I don't need any evidence at all, like how I'm going to make 20 grand. And I think to myself every day, like, I wonder how that money's going to come. I wonder what I'm going to do to have that money drop in my lap.
Yeah.
I wonder how it's going to work, because I can't even imagine. It could be a deal. It could be something with Creative REI Replay. It could be somebody gifted it to me. It could be anything. I'm not putting restraints on it. I'm just saying that I know it's going to come.
Well, you help enough people that it should happen.
Right. Exactly.
Bingo.
Right. So one more example of this, and then we're going to move on. You work 80 hours a week. You have 2 children. It's now they're graduating from high school and they're 16, 17, 18 years old, whatever that age is. And you think back and you think, damn, I missed all their soccer games. I didn't go to their plays. I don't know who these kids are.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden the skies part open and the sun shines down on you and says, I'm a time machine. I can send you back to one of those times. What would it be? And you pick a time where you could go back to, let's say, a graduation from a dancing school.
Yep.
And you have the ability to go back in that time. What do you think you would act like if you had that chance to go back in time when you go back into that time? And you have the ability to be with your child and do the things you said you never did or you couldn't do. How would you respond to that situation if you could do that?
You would appreciate it more than you can imagine, that's for sure.
This is what I'm talking about. This is what Hardy's talking about in this book. Is because you have that golden opportunity to go back in time, you would appreciate it and you would act differently, knowing how the future is going to turn out. It's an amazing tool.
That's pretty deep.
It's an amazing tool. What you need to realize is you don't need evidence and you don't need confidence. You just need to believe it's going to be.
Well,
and that's
a
it.
goal is a goal. It's not the entire business plan.
Right.
And what you're saying is absolutely true, but I think we all make the mistake too many times of, you want to do something, how am I going to do it? That's another thing. That's something else. It's just a goal. Just put it there and then work toward it.
All right, so seeing your current life through the eyes of your future self, you see opportunities you were previously blind to. If you stay connected with your future self, you'll value your present time more. Once this is clear to you, everything will filter through your true aims, goals, and purposes in life. Now, before I move on, because this is the most amazing part of the podcast as far as I'm concerned, then this next part I'm going to do. I'm not talking to you about this at all, Peter. I'm springing this on you today.
Okay.
But I actually had a conversation with Gail the other day, and I explained to her this is why I have been different most of my life, because I've done this naturally and didn't even know I was doing it.
Oh.
I would put myself in that situation where I want to be, and I would just, fake it till you make it type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would make decisions as if I was that person.
Oh, really?
And I didn't even know I was doing it.
Oh.
Next, from Frederick Dodson's book, you don't know who he is, from Frederick Dodson's book, Magnetic Wealth Attraction. The link to that book is in today's description. I strongly suggest it's probably about an hour or 2 hour read. It's an easy book to read. Mm-hmm. There is no fluff in it at all. He says, now listen to this, Peter, because this is the most vital part of today's podcast.
Okay.
Money is not the goal. Mm. You touched upon this earlier. It's going to wrap this whole thing up. Mm. There are many reasons it's not unwise to focus on money as the goal.
Okay.
First reason is that you don't really want the money. You want the stuff or the feelings you think you can buy with the money. So you need to look at the real goal or aim behind the apparent goal. It puts you more deeply in touch with your heart's true desire so you don't get lost superficially. So I recommend not to aim for the money itself, but ask yourself what you want to do or purchase with the money. This trains your thinking by putting you deeply in touch with the energy of prosperity. I'm going to read that again because it's a key sentence. This trains your thinking by putting you deeply in touch with energy of prosperity. Going deeper than objects and things to provide feelings. What you really want, even more than money or stuff, are the experiences. A specific state of being or feeling. You want stories, you want confidence, etc. If you ask, why do I want to do creative real estate? You'll probably, if you do this drill I'm talking about, you'll probably come up with, if you do what I'm telling you today, you'll probably come up with, well, I want stability. I want achievement. I want expansion. I want more revenue and less stress. Thus the name of today's podcast. Now you're able to live life to the fullest, right? Which is an ultimate aim for almost every human. The only people who think about money every day are those whom don't have it or don't provide enough benefit for others and can't see it. So, like me, I want this 20 grand for a specific thing. Instead of saying I want the 20 grand, I envision myself doing what I'm doing when I pay the 20 grand. Like I'm in a specific room and I'm there and I can feel. In fact, I wanted so bad. I went down to, and I'm not going to elaborate on it, but I went down to where I'm going to go, and I got a tour of where inside the building. So I have visuals in my mind that actually envision myself sitting at these tables and eating in this cafeteria and doing these certain things. It's completely going to be a sabbatical. I'm going to do a 4-month sabbatical, and it's all self-help, self-advancement. It's something I've wanted to do for 25 years, and I'm not far away from doing that. And by the way, the money is not just for that. It's for me to live down there for 4 months and for me to travel. It's for a whole bunch of stuff. So
the whole trip.
So the point is that I don't envision the 20 grand. I envision myself traveling. I envision myself being there, eating there, sleeping there. I envision the weather. I envision the whole experience. And all of a sudden, things start breaking free. All of a sudden, I'm doing deals and things are happening that I've been trying to do for months and couldn't get going because I was pushing instead of pulling.
That pulls you forward. It pulls you forward.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
So here we go. I hope that made sense. So don't envision the money, envision what you're going to do with the money and get all the feelings and all the rawness of like what it's going to be like, how it's going to make other people happy, how it's going to this, like you want to donate to a charity, how it's going to help the kids or how it's going to help somebody get healed or how it's going to, whatever it may be, just envision those satiant human being emotions and that will do it. And think about those things. Don't think about them as they're done, like it's completed. Like, I can't believe I did that. Like me, I think to myself when I'm all done, when I'm done with my vision, because I do it 2 or 3 times a day accidentally by now.
Oh.
Right now. And when I get all done, I'm like, I can't believe I pulled that off. I can't wait to tell my story.
Nice.
I can't believe I had this barrier, I had that barrier, I had this barrier, and I blew right through them. And I'm going to tell that story the rest of my life.
It makes it very, very worthwhile because it's not easy because you can still do it.
Right.
Hey, what you
All right, next.
what you said? Some guy said that on TV the other night. It was on one of the TV shows where he was performing in front of a huge audience, and the audience went wild. He says, "You won't believe how many times I've been in my bedroom in front of the mirror, playing my violin. At the end, I go, and the crowd goes wild, and here I am, and you went wild."
Yeah.
And he starts crying. But that's what
See?
he was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that was like last night on TV.
Yep.
And there he was.
All right, 2 more points, and we only have about 8 more minutes. So next, you get what you require. A fundamental law of abundance is that you get what you require. And of course, require does not mean neediness. Require means instead want for a particular purpose or aim. So you're requiring that this happens because, like me, a lot of times I'll be like, others are relying on me.
Yeah.
I have to do this. Like, I can't sit here and watch TV for an hour and a half at lunchtime because I gotta make these phone calls because, Sean needs me to talk. We need to sell this house.
Yeah.
Or I need to do something for you, or I need to do something for whatever.
I feel the same way.
It ties back into how many people you're helping, because what happens is it takes it away from you, like I'm doing this for me. Instead, you're doing it for somebody else to help them. Now, pay attention to this. Money is an energy and flows to where it can be used. Right? Usually on very survival actions.
Hopefully.
Okay? So envision it like this. Much like a pipe with water in it, if you plug up the outflow end, sooner or later the inflow end will stop taking water because the pipe is full.
Yep.
So one of the amazing things to me is when I watch students, when they get in trouble, they plug the pipe at the outflow end. Stop spending money. And they think that's the first step in the emergency.
Oh.
Right? They plug up the pipe and they say stop spending. They economize. And that's the wrong thing to do. What you need to do is you need to outflow like a son of a bitch. You need to figure out who you can help. How many people can you help? How many offers can I make? And how many people can I talk to today? And that's where you need to go. Right?
Yep.
Okay. The final thought. Here's the final thought. And I hope that all made sense, because now I'm kind of rushing a little bit, right? So the final thought today is the most important thought for you, not for me, for you, because I don't want to do like many others have done before me with our listeners, and that is give you tools and ideas and not give you a way to unbug them or undo them if they go wrong.
Okay.
So in other words, you're going to try these things, and if they don't work, I want you to have a tool to fix it so you can continue to do it.
Cool.
And most teachers or philosophers or whatever, I don't even know what to call them, but most people that do stuff like this will give you the tools, but they won't tell you what to do if it doesn't work. And I'm going to do that right now. So here's the mental tool to use when you get bogged down or don't have results from today's suggestions. I'm going to sneeze. Hang on one second. Excuse me. This is from a book Dan Sullivan wrote called Thinking About Your Thinking.
Right.
This is absolutely an underground book. You're not going to find it on Amazon. It is not something you're going to find easily unless you're in his group and in his world. You won't find this. You and I, Peter, talked about this in podcast number 368, and it's called Are You Ignoring Creative Real Estate Normally, but You Don't Want to? We talked about this process or this idea. And if you want the book, which I strongly suggest you get, it's an ebook. I printed it online. You have to pay for it, but it's an ebook. It's one of the best books I think I've ever read in the last 10 years. The secret link to this incredible book, because I'm underground book, because I'm telling you, you're not going to find it just by searching. You're going to have to know where to go. Is in episode number 368, in the description of episode number 368. So go there and get it. So here's how it works. When you feel confused in a circumstance, things aren't working for you, or you have bad feelings about something, just ask yourself, what am I thinking about right now? Just ask yourself, what am I thinking about right now? And suddenly you will feel freed up and will notice you're looking at things differently. Test this. I'm telling you, it works. I've been doing it. It's been absolutely amazing what I come up with. Before asking your question, right, you were reacting to the situation. Right? Before asking, what am I thinking about right now? You were reacting to the situation. By asking this question, you will now be above it. You won't be in it. You'll be outside of it. You're now responding instead of reacting. Right? It puts you back into present time and able to determine the right solutions for the situation. The key is when you're actually in present time, you're not reactive to it, right? And it allows you to see similarities and unsimilarities. It allows you to see logic and unlogic between your present situation and the ones you've been in, points in the past. So it allows you to see the difference between what happened in the past and what's happening right now. By just asking yourself, what am I thinking about right now? It's incredible. And this allows you to determine the right solution for present time solutions. I don't know why I wrote that. And there is no reason to feel apprehensive or stress about the experience. Now you have a way to transform them. Realize your human mind can ignore statements, but it cannot ignore a good question.
Wow, wait a minute. I've never heard that one.
It's impossible. Your mind is impossible to ignore a question.
No, that's its job, to answer questions and solve problems. That's interesting. I've never heard it put that way. That's good.
So if you ask it, what am I thinking about right now? Your mind will respond.
Yeah.
All right. So technically the podcast is over. I realized halfway through that there was another strategy that I use that is I learned from Dotson that I would like to talk about. So if you have to go, I would understand it, but I'm going to go another 4 or 5 minutes with this other strategy. Okay. Here's the strategy. We were talking about putting yourself in the future, right? And acting like you're in the future. So here's a drill you can do. So that's the intention, right? The intention is I want to go to Disney World with my 3 kids and have a 2-week vacation.
All right.
And I need 10 grand to do it. So you think about going on vacation with your 3 kids, and you envision yourself being in Disney World, and you envision all the fun you're having and eating and on the rides, and you keep thinking that, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the way our minds work is sometimes we think of that, and so you have an intention. The next thing that comes up is the counter intention.
Yep.
Why you can't do that. So here's what you do. Get a paper and pencil and you write down what you want to do. The intention is this. Then write down the counter intention that popped up. And you look at that, like, why is that there? And then you write it down again. You write the next question. You ask the next question. So what is the intention?
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at what is the counter intention. And you do that enough times that the counter intention will go away, because you'll look at it and realize, based on what am I thinking right now, based on that philosophy, you're thinking, well, I'm thinking right now that there's no way I could go on vacation. My boss will fire me. I can't go for 2 weeks. I only have a week off. I only have a week's worth of time. My boss will fire me. Mm-hmm. That's the counter intention. So take a look at that, and by doing what am I thinking right now, right? Mm-hmm. You'll look at that counter intention and spot it and realize it's probably silly, or there's another solution. So you go through this drill. I need to make an offer today. Because that's what Bill says. I need to make an offer today to be wealthy. I agree with that. I need to make an offer today. Well, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to have the counter intention. Well, who am I going to make the offer to?
Yeah. I can't because.
Or, so you'll be like, okay, so you walk through that. Well, I guess I could go on to Facebook Marketplace and find somebody there. Okay, good. So then you ask yourself again, how am I going to make an offer today? Or I need to make an offer today. That's the intention. The next thing will come up is, well, I don't have any capital. How am I going to do that? Or I don't know what to say to the seller. How am I going to do that? Or all the counter intentions are going to come up, right? So you need to work through those, write them down and work through those. And you might need to do this every day for a week or 2 or 10.
Or continually.
Until you work out the counter intentions. See, what you're doing by doing this is you're forcing yourself to confront the counter intention that's stopping you.
Well, those counter intentions, you don't put there on purpose. They just show up. Those are kind of automatic reactions from whatever, subconscious reactions, whatever. And they're just there. And they can smolder. And I bet a lot of people don't even know what they are. They just know they can't because, I don't know, I just can't do it. I see people make up reasons like, oh, I can't because I'm tired. But that's got to do with it. That's not what's really going on. Oh, and they don't even want to tell themselves what's really going on. But if you do, that's the only chance you have of getting it to dissolve. So
yeah, we used to tease about it. Yeah, you can't do a real estate deal because you got to watch JR on Dallas tonight. Back in the old days.
That was an old one.
Or you can't do the deal tonight because you got to go bowling. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of ridiculous. You can't do a deal tonight because you got to go grocery shopping. Well, okay. Mm-hmm. Those are excuses you're making yourself.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you actually do the drill, like I tell you, like you put the intention there, like your future, this is what I want in the future, and you look at it and you see it and you work on that, right? And then you have the intentions. You think to yourself, okay, so what's the intention? The intention is, well, who am I going to call? And then ask yourself, what am I thinking about right now?
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking about who am I going to not call because I don't have Creative REI Replay. I don't have a system. I don't have somebody to call. I don't have a phone number. I don't have, and you'll start to say, what am I thinking right now? And you'll start, because your mind needs to answer a question, it will answer the question of the counter intention and come up with solutions. Yep. It's absolutely, it sounds very profound and it sounds like psychology type stuff. I'm telling you, it works. I've been working on it. It is absolutely, and I feel like I have a fairly strong mind. I don't know what others think around me, but I feel I definitely have a very strong mind. And I know how to set goals. I've run groups. I've had businesses. I've got 3 of them right now. And I can tell you that I have been really looking at why my life is so stress-free lately. And it's because I started working on these exercises. And it's absolutely got me focused. I'm not nervous anymore. When it's time for me to have downtime, I don't feel guilty. Like there are some days where I'm like, I have nothing to do this afternoon. I think I'm going to go to Walmart. Mm-hmm. Or I'm going to, this is going to sound stupid. Of course, I'm a big fat guy, so you could probably make sense. But Costco's is about half an hour away from me. Just out of the blue, I'll decide I'm going to go to Costco's and get a hot dog for lunch. And
a cigar.
Yeah, well, I'll smoke the cigar in the car.
Yeah, that's why it's a half an hour, folks. So he has to get to smoke the cigar.
Yeah, but it's an hour and a half trip. I'm just going to get a hot dog for lunch because I don't have anything pressing.
Yeah.
because I do these drills and I'm not stressed and I know what's going on. Okay, so we're 9 minutes past the hour and we're a little bit longer. Hopefully you found this was a really good, helpful podcast for you. Again, this is for my coaching clients and my coaching groups. I will share this podcast with them. So we did it publicly today because I thought maybe it would help some of our rookies and some of our pros. Please give me some feedback. I would love it if you went to flippinghousesforrookies.com, top right hand side, support ticket, and sent me some feedback because I sometimes struggle with what I should talk about on these podcasts, and these type of like philosophy type things are difficult because people want to come here and find the magic strategy that they could tell their seller and make a bunch of deals, and that's not exactly what happens. So that's my point.
Yep.
Okay, we're over now. Podcast number 371 is over. Thanks for your attention. Don't forget to go subscribe to us. Don't forget to leave us a review. Please, 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 if you could take the time, go to flippinghousesforrookies.com, either /support or go to support on top of the page and send me some feedback on this podcast and tell me whether you liked it or not. I would absolutely love that.
I'd like to hear people use the last thing you just said to us. And in 5 days, give us an email support ticket, and maybe we can cover it next week or just comment on what happened. I'd love to see 5, 10 people, 15 people do it and let us know.
Yep, absolutely.
5 days. Call me.
All right, we're over now. Have a good week. Flourish and prosper. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.